I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out, how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom? Well, text the word freedom to 737-777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 191. And I'm super excited here today because we're going to be talking today about inner freedom and why inner freedom is so important. See, there are a lot of external factors that happen in our lives on a regular basis, and a lot of times it's affected by things that are going on inside. And so, if we can defeat the enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do us no harm. And so that's why I'm excited about this episode because we are going to go deep diving into inner freedom. And, let me just start by saying part of this is something that I've been doing recently. So, we all know that meditation is something that's important. It's powerful, right? Right. But I would venture to say, I'm just guessing. I don't know for a fact. I don't have any data or statistics, but I know most people don't meditate. You know why? Because I know I didn't, right? I didn't do it on a regular basis. It's something that I knew to do. It's something that I knew was powerful. I've done it every here and now and then, but it's not something that I did on a consistent basis. But just last week, I did it like 2 days in a row, and oh my goodness, I mean, I felt like so different. Like I approached the day differently. I had more energy about myself. I had more it was just like I was a different person, right? And I just loved that because I was able to dictate how my day was going to go. My thoughts were in the right place, and so that's what we're going to kind of dive into. And you know for those of you who are followers of Christ, um, you know, we understand that meditation is important, but sometimes let's just be honest, in the Christian community, it doesn't get a whole lot of press when it comes to meditation. It's something that sometimes, honestly, is looked down upon, because it's highly regarded in some other religions, but in Christianity, it's not something that is at the forefront. And so, I heard someone say, as I've been studying this even more, they said praying is when you're talking to God, but meditating is when you let God talk to you. And I think a lot of times we don't give God an opportunity to speak to us. We don't give him an opportunity to guide us. And I mean, look, if we're not doing that, then that means that we are really trying to move through life on our own versus through the one that actually created us. So it behooves us to meditate and to hear from him and just to take that time. And, I'll just be honest, part of my challenge is that I would fall asleep a lot. So one of the things that I started doing is I started to fold my legs and sit in an upright position, put some soaking music on. And then one of the things I would do is I would pray first. I would say some affirmations, and then I would meditate. And what I would do in the past, I used to think meditating was, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but I'm just telling you my own experience. But in the past, I would just sit there and just think of nothing. And I think that's why I would fall asleep. Plus, my posture, if I was laying down or just sitting there um, in a certain way, it was easy for me to fall asleep. But when I'm sitting upright, with my legs folded, And what I'm doing is I'm imagining the thing that I want to manifest, the thing that I want to create. Because see, the Bible says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? And by the way, let me just say this for those of you who think meditation is like one of those hokey pokey, hocus pocus type of things. Look, the word meditate was mentioned in the Bible 23 times. 19 of those times it was in Psalms. And the Hebrew word for meditate is haga, which is to sigh or murmur. But there's another Hebrew word, siha, which is to muse or to rehearse in one's mind. And so, what I'm more or less referring to is the second one, to rehearse in your mind. And so, it's just important. It's just powerful that we can put ourselves in a space where we can create our future on the canvas of our mind, and then let our subconscious go to work on its behalf. Right? It's powerful to create the movie of your life. It's amazing to me that we will spend all this time designing a vacation. We'll spend all this time planning so many different things, but we won't spend any time planning our lives. I've mentioned that before many times on this podcast. It reminds me of Job. Job said, "That which has," he said, "that which I fear the most has come upon me." That was Job 3:25. He said, "That which I fear the most has come upon me." So what that means to me is that you know we literally are attracting certain things into our lives. We attract what we think about. We what we think about, we bring about. So if we want to bring into our lives the right thing, because the Bible says if you believe, then anything that you ask for can happen, right? As long as you believe, if you have the faith, right? And so in my mind, when you meditate and you start to see an impression in your mind, what it is that you actually want, and even the most important part is feeling as if it's already happened. To me, that's a high level of faith, because what you're essentially doing is you're operating as if you're already living in that reality, and you're operating ahead of time before you even have it. And you're getting to a place where you believe so strong that you already have, or you're already this thing or whatever it is you're looking to create, even though it hasn't even manifested yet. How powerful is that? So, this is a subject that is huge, really, really huge for me. And I just wanted to share it with you. And I love to hear some of your feedback on, you know, do you meditate? Do you have a certain methodology? Do you have a certain way that you do it? But I just know that many of the greats have talked about it, and it's something that we want to get that inner freedom, because once you have that inner freedom, it'll start to matriculate on the outside and the outside lives. See, when I did it those couple days, oh my gosh, I mean, I felt so different. I can't even really explain to you how I felt. I just literally felt like I was already living that reality that I was visualizing about, that I was thinking about. And by the way, this is now my morning routine. I mean, in the morning I would always pray and study the word and things like that. But I'm implementing this into my everyday lifestyle. So hey, let's take this journey together. I love to hear how things go for you, and we can bounce ideas and things off of each other. Definitely, you can connect with us in our Facebook group, the Code Freedom community group that we have, and the whole goal there is for us to engage with each other and just become a community of people who want freedom, right? Who are willing to do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, to achieve the freedom that we deserve and desire for our families and for everyone around us. So, how many of y'all gonna start meditating? I want to hear the stories. I want to hear the successes from it, and I'll share more stuff that I'm doing and the exciting things that I start to manifest. But I'll tell you, it's exciting. And one thing that I learned is that it's a good thing to do in the morning, and it's a good thing to do at night. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean you can't do it any other time of the day. But one of the reasons why it's such a powerful thing to do in the morning and at night is because we are allowing our subconscious mind to have this impression, and it's going to put it like this. If you start to visualize and think and just kind of meditate on the thing that you want when you go to bed, while you're sleeping, your subconscious is actually still awake, and your subconscious is going to work like, okay, what do we need to do this next day to um to pull this off, to make this a reality. Matter of fact, your subconscious already thinks it's a reality. The longer you impress that on your subconscious, your subconscious already thinks it's a reality. So now it's just going to say, hey, it's like that thermostat, which we're going to talk about in a second. It's going to start to make adjustments because, like, wait, this is not how we live. This is how we live based on what I've been seeing on my subconscious every single day. So it's exciting stuff. I love talking about mind stuff. I love talking about this type of topic because, look, I mean, our mind is the most, it's better than any computer that we've ever had. It's so powerful, it's so complex, so misunderstood, but we're not even using a small, but a small fraction of the power that we have within us, right? So, I mean, just imagine. Remember what I said is that we pray, and then when we meditate, we allow for God to talk to us. So, what if we're getting instructions, a direct download of what we think that we need to do, and then you get done with meditating, and then you literally just move with intention, and you don't even know why you're doing certain things. It's just because you've allowed God to speak to you, and now you get to operate in a whole nother level because of this intuition that you have, and it's just because you opened up your heart, you opened up your mind, you opened up your senses to receive, and now you get to go fulfill that which is already destined for you to fulfill. So if you can't tell, I get excited about this stuff. And again, we're going to talk more about this, but I really want to just bring this to you all as Code Freedom listeners, inner freedom. And by the way, this is our first week talking about transitioning into what we're doing is Sundays and Fridays for each episode. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our book club and we're going to talk about our special book. Welcome to our first segment of the Code Freedom Book Club. We're reading a book by Ed Milet, and that book is called The Power of One More, The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Success. And it's a great book. Started reading it, and hopefully you guys got the book. Hopefully you guys will read with me, and we can grow together. That's what I love about this is that we are a community, and we can rise and grow together. And so I'm just on chapter one, and we're talking about one more identity. And he said, identity is the thoughts, concepts, and beliefs that we hold as the most genuine parts of our inner being. And he says that we need to adjust our identity thermostat, our identity thermostat. And we've talked about the thermostat many times on this episode. The thermostat is what sets the temperature, while the thermometer is what reads the temperature. And so, he talks about how, let's just say that you want to get your temperature to 100, but for whatever reason, your identity thermostat is at a 75. Right? So how do we make that adjustment where we get it? Because no matter what happens, all these external factors happen, and maybe it gets moved down to 50, or maybe it might move up just a little bit to 80 or 90, but it doesn't quite get to that 100. And even if it does get to the 100, it finds itself back to the 75 because that is where we've been conditioned, right? That's the condition of our life. And so he shares three things to help change your identity, and I'm not going to go through all of that, but one thing I do want to highlight is something that we talked a lot about on this episode as well, and that's associations. Because, see, listen, if you have a bunch of associations that have a 50 thermostat and you're a 75, guess what? that 75 is going to be shrinking down to a 50 eventually. But here this the same thing is you can hang around a bunch of people who have 100 thermostat, right? So now that 75 has an opportunity to be raised up to 100 because you've been around people who have such a 100 thermostat so long that you just pick up on certain things. Sometimes more is caught than taught. So you're just around it so much, it just becomes who you are. And now it's just you don't have to think about it. You are now officially at the 100, right? Versus being a 75. So I just thought that was really, really powerful in chapter one. Hey, I'd love to hear if you could join us in our Code Freedom Facebook group and share with us what are you getting from chapter one about identity. We love to hear. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.